Learning to crochet can be easy.
The differences between crocheting and knitting. Crocheting needles have hooks. Knitting needles are pointed at the ends and are much longer than crocheting needles. Knitting needles have pointed ends.
Let's begin.
Make a knotted loop in your yarn.
Facebook page. From St. Louis to Los Angeles in one.
Okay, so let's crochet. These are a few things that you might need while you're learning to crochet so you don't give up hope.
Make a knotted loop in your yarn.
Wrap your thread around the crochet needle's hook.
Pull the head of the needle through the original loop with You have to decide the number of loops you will need. 50 loops or 100 loops. It doesn't matter whether or not to repeat the previous steps over and over and over again. Keep account of your loops.
If you lose your count, simply place your finger in each crocheted loop.
The plot thickens. When you begin to add more rows to your single original row,
This is complex for beginners.
Attaching your loops to the original existing can be clearly demonstrated with the mint green yarn. The mint green yarn that you see is around 25. You will have to wrap your yarn 3 times instead of once, as you did in the original.
When you take the bottom loop with the top 2 loops, it makes your hole, which is the first one, a lot wider. And if you compare that with the hole next to it, comes to your second row and all rows beyond. When it comes to the second row and all rows beyond the first row, you will have 3 choices where to place your needle. When you place your needle here, you will take up this line and the 2 open lines above it. When you do this, it will be a wider square, and you can see whatever fabric or whatever's behind, if you're choosing to be sexy, whatever's behind will come through clearly. However, if you choose only to do the first section here, your needle will only take these 2 guys right here. You will come through here and it will be a more closed hole. You can still see through it, but you just can't see as much. when you take that up. So you have to make a decision. If you choose to take those first loops in between the first hole, you must continue to do so. Because if you switch up in between, it will look like you have a large hole in your crocheting beyond the holes that you already have. It will be inconsistent. Your other holes may, be a perfect square, and where the new one might be a lot larger. So it looks different. It looks like you've made a huge mistake. Now, if you wanted to do like every other crochet hole, then that's fine, but please be consistent. Okay, as you can see, as I stated before, when you take the bottom loop with the top 2 loops, it makes your hole, which is the first one, a lot wider. And if you compare that with the hole next to it, you'll see that there's very little room in between, but sufficient amount of room though. But this one is a lot wider.